Welcome back to the All Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're here. And they call me Mr. U, the podcast. Thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're in the house. Football Talk with Bo representing this morning. The Herb and Raj podcast also in the house. Good morning, fellas. Monday morning. Happy Monday. How you guys doing?
Morning. I think Bo's praying.
Right, Bo's praying. No, Bo's praying for this show. He's hoping it's going to be. I'm there praying with you, brother.
yes. Any show with me on it needs prayer. So,
come on.
Starting off.
How you guys' weekend, man? Anything of note? Yeah.
Birthday weekend for Raj, so we were out in Dallas.
That man is getting love.
Yes. I've got a lot of posts to respond to from the weekend. Because I think we'd post a picture and then not be back on Twitter for the rest of the weekend. So
I saw a picture.
Yeah. I still have some more pictures to post and stuff. And
all right, I need to see those.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's all NFL draft. Big, we've been talking about it for a hot minute, and it's like there's really no other day to do this. So this week and next week, it's all NFL draft. If you guys love some other kind of sport like tennis or golf, I feel sorry for you. This is all about the NFL. For the next 2 weeks, man, we're going to be going heavy on the NFL draft. There's going to be a lot to talk about, a lot of rounds to break down, especially next week after the draft is done. So here we are. We're going all the way in, man. So, Bo, since you're in the house, are you ready with your top 10 mocks from last week? We never got those from you. So, are you ready for those? Bomeister.
I think Bo's ignoring you. Yeah. What did you say? What did you say to Bo before we got on there, man?
We ain't getting out of these top 10 mocks, brother. we need those mocks, brother. Put them in the comment section. I don't care how you do it, but we got to get your mocks, man. I want to see what you got going on. See what you, Roger, if you can make it happen while being safe out there, man. We need your mocks, man. We did all last week, man. Herb was on time. He got his, knocked his out. Trav knocked his out. All right. Good morning, Mom. So good to have you in the house today. Hope you're doing well where you are.
Hello.
Support, undying support for us. We appreciate it so much. All right, well, can't sit here and wait for these top 10 mocks to come. Sorry.
Has yours changed? Has yours changed, but from last week, or you think you're rolling with the same?
Oh, I'm having a problem with a couple of areas, but I don't feel I can change. I don't know where to put them, but I feel like this is not going to go the way I thought.
Right.
I don't know.
There's a couple of teams that could wreck your mock. That's the problem.
Well, there's 4 teams that can destroy 2. We talked about last week. That was Minnesota and the Raiders. I can see that happening. I really believe we're going to be trading up. But I feel like Drake May is somebody that we've been hearing so much negative about early on. I feel like he's the guy that I think if the Giants had the chance, they would take him.
Right.
I thought that at first, and then I heard all the negativity, and I fell for the chatter. And I think that he's somebody that they will actually want if he can get that far.
Right.
For all the trade ups, I'm not even sure. Jaden Daniels is a name that, wow. I think Jaden Daniels is a guy that can definitely be in that top 3, top 4 territory. I'm hearing nothing but great things about him. I mean, his slender build is probably the only thing that people can talk about.
Right.
Everything else, his accuracy, his strength as a pocket passer, his ability to move out of the pocket and still be accurate down the field, hard to find. So I feel like he's going to be pretty high, as projected. Good morning, Chad. Thanks for having you in the house, brother. Hope you enjoy the show. Bring your NFL draft questions, man. We'd love to hear from you on that. All right, boy. We still not seeing you, brother. But how about you? You see anything that's different, man? Anything that's changing for you? I knew once we did it, something was going to happen. I knew it.
Well, so I was even reading articles, especially specifically to one of your questions. So I was trying to see where you wanted to start at. So I'm going to ask you a specific question to start.
Let's go.
How do you feel about the Giants moving up from 6, or do they stand pat and take whoever they want there?
We cannot move up from 6 for several reasons. We only got 6 picks.
Mm-hmm.
But to move up, that means you're probably going to have to give somebody two of the picks that we had this year, probably, or a first next year. I don't think we need to do that. So I think we need to stay where we are or trade backwards.
Right.
I wrote an article for one of the Giants blogs recently, and I talked about that same thing. I said we need to stay where we are and get BPA. Because we need so many, we need like 6 different positions. I forget what they all are. I wrote them down somewhere. But we need about 6 different positions. We have to have a cornerback out of this draft. More than like right now, our cornerback room is slim. Right. Quarterback is something we can't ignore. Linebacker, I think is outside or inside. Either we need linebacker help for sure. Right. We need guard help because I don't know what if your boy's going to guard Evan Neal. I don't know if you're going to be able to help us that or not because it doesn't sound like they're moving him at all.
He doesn't take my calls anymore, so we don't talk.
All right. Keep in his good graces, please. We're gonna need running back help because Eric Gray is not a barrel cow. We can't use him like that because that's not his makeup. I mean, we got like 6 or 7 needs we gotta have, so we can't do that with 6 picks and then try to move up so we can get a quarterback. So we gotta stay where we are.
Yeah,
I think we get value if we do stay there. We can probably still get a quarterback there. I seen stuff with names like Spencer Rattler, but no. We're not going to do that. That's what we're not going to do. If Dallas want to do that, go ahead, Dallas. You do that, but we're not going to do that. So I think we got to stay where we are and get BPA. We can get a lot of good stuff that we stay there. 6. We can get one of 2 or 3 of the top wide receivers in the draft if we want to. We can get Joe Alton, steal him from Tennessee if you want to. We can get potentially quarterback for the future. I think at least 2 or 3 of them should drop down that way, no matter what happens. Even with trades up from potentially from the Raiders or from the Vikings, which is likely to happen. So yeah, to answer your question, we got to stay there. We got to hang out. So
a month ago when we first were talking about this, I said I absolutely didn't think the Giants should move up. And it's like I'm reading articles. ESPN put out their top teams to move up and move down. And they put the Giants in the team to move up. And I was like, I must have missed something because I don't feel like I understand the need for a quarterback, even with Daniel Jones, but I don't see the draft capital and the need to move up that much and sacrifice so much. You know, like you said, when you have so much you want to fix, I just don't see it. So I might be wrong.
No, but you're not wrong. I mean, because honestly, anybody that they want to come on and talk about it, they can, man. But I'm not going to come in agreement with them because there's no value in us moving up. So what you say? 3 picks? What are we giving for 3 picks? You know we're gonna give to move up 3 positions in the draft. We're gonna give somebody at least 2 picks and probably a future. Just to move up 3 picks. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that kind of draft. We can't afford to lose.
If you're doing that, you must think that like Drake May is going to be a superstar. You know, like surefire, can't miss prospect. And
if he was that. Everybody will be doing the same, the same way. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm in the same position I was before. I don't think the Giants should move up. Like I don't see it with their draft capital and what they need on the team. I just don't see it. So
I said something about. I wrote this in the article about them moving backwards. I said that was a viable option. It made sense because we need to have some capital. Like I said, we got 6 or 7 positions. I keep forgetting to count. It's like it's either 6 or 7 that we need of dire need. And we need to get some good talent and start building from that out of this draft. So we got to get some picks out of all this stuff. We can trade back in round 2. There's a viable option there to do that. Or we can do it in round 3 as well. But after that, pick and start getting slim. You know, the value goes down a lot after round 3. So I don't want to move back. I'm nervous about that because I know we got some needs that I'm not sure we can find the answers to. Maybe we can. This is running back and wide receiver guys out there that can help us out. And that if they're really talented and they're not in the top or they're not in the first round, I get that. So I'm not totally afraid, but moving up, I'm definitely afraid of that. I don't think we should do it. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see a need for it, right? To your point, unless you think Drake May is that guy. I don't, but I mean, he could be. Who knows, right? Like we don't know at this point. But if you stay where you are and you are still convinced you needed a quarterback, like JJ McCarthy is still going to be there, right? Because at 4, if Arizona stays there, they're getting a receiver, right? Sup, Chad? But yeah, so I mean, like, there's no real need to move up. You know, I think more than anything, that's just something people were able to play around with on their mock draft, right? Because when you think about the needs that your team has, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go do that.
It does not. I think the Giants are just playing around with folks for the most part. What I can't tell is if they want them trade back and they just trying to get some capital, or they want to stay and just stir folks up. I can't really tell, but
right. And there's a lot of that, so it's always hard to tell what
Yeah.
the smoke screen is and what's the actual information.
we need a lot of things. How about you guys, teams? How you guys feeling about essentially what your team's going to do in this? Because I know next week probably going to flesh it out a lot because your teams will made their picks by then, and then we get your analysis from each of you on how your team did. Herb got a couple of teams that he likes. I know Miami's Rodgers team, and we'll be talking about the Seahawks next week. But just want to get your thoughts. What do you think about what you're hearing? Some of the chatter, I guess, and what you think they should actually do. What do you think?
I feel like both the teams that I'm kind of rooting for, and then Rodgers' team also probably going defense. With their first picks. Obviously, Houston just made the big trade offensively. So I feel like all the weapons are already there. So unless it's like, linemen that just really fall and they can't ignore, I feel like they're going defense as well. And maybe even specifically cornerback, I think is what I was reading. And then Philly just needs to fix the defense all over. So you might just take the best defensive player that's out there at that point. So,
Yeah.
And then Raj, I know they want to fix defense. So I haven't looked specifically at his. I'll let him answer that question if he slides by. But he wasn't happy with the people that they let go this offseason. So now it's like, yeah, we just let this guy go. Now we got to replace him.
That's fair.
I never agree with letting like a more veteran player go to draft a rookie on a team that's more win now than win later. And the Dolphins are definitely more win now. So I don't get that one at all.
I'm missing that one too, man, because I think Christian Wilkins is not the same thing as
He was mad about that one.
I think it was more of a cap thing than anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's not like they were trying to do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
They could have made cuts somewhere else. You don't agree? I mean, they did some stuff.
Oh no, I would have tried to, and I obviously I haven't looked at their full cap situation, but I just have to think you would have had to try somewhere else, anywhere else.
I'd have made a way to make Wilkins hang out. I think he'd been worth it.
I agree.
He may not be the same thing as a Chris Jones or Dexter Lawrence for us, but you make a way for a player like that, especially when your defense was probably the weakest part of your game last year. You don't get that guy up to replace him with somebody from the draft who's brand new, fresh out of
exactly. And if that guy takes like 2 years, if that guy takes 2 years to come along, I mean, even if he's a superstar in 2 years, that's 2 years you wasted of everybody. Tyreek Hill ain't hanging out forever. So
that was bad.
No, exactly.
How about you, Bo? Seahawks. What you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, if history tells us anything, they probably trade back, right? Because although we have a new head coach, we don't have a new GM, right? And sitting at 16, if it's one of those where if there is a trade, it'll happen when they hit on the clock, right? Okay. Because they're probably going to see if someone wants to trade up. Like I could see a team like Philly moving up a little bit and, trying to get one of their guys on their board. That would put Seattle dropping back to like 22. I could see them being in the mid 20s, trading with one of those teams, because realistically, unless they're sitting at 16 and they're sold on Penix, which I don't know that they are, but their offensive coordinator was his offensive coordinator. So if he's still available, there's a shot, right? Okay. But I would say that's a low percentage type of thing. They probably trade back and grab a center, interior offensive lineman maybe, or an edge rusher. Like I imagine the trenches is something that they're going to target a fair amount. And with that first pick is probably where they're going to go. Again, if Penix is still there, there's an outside shot to go after a quarterback. I can't imagine they do though. I'm guessing they're going interior offensive line.
Okay. I heard a name associated with you guys. I was just wondering what you thought about it. I think he's a perfect fit, but it's just my personal opinion. I was thinking about defensive tackle Byron Murphy from Texas.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be bad.
High pass rush, we led the nation in pass rush. I think Mike McDonald can use him in his physical nature, man. How about how
for sure. The other guy I was thinking, which is why I thought it could kind of go either way, was I'm trying to trying to remember the guy's name here.
Okay. Really from
Center Graham Barton out
oh,
of Duke.
okay.
I could see them picking him up, upgrading at center. They get, both of their tackles back that were injured last year. So in theory, that would really start to move this offensive line forward. Still some questions at guard. Not that the guard position was terrible, but, an upgrade wouldn't be terrible either. So, yeah, I mean, it's that's kind of what I see is like a tackle or an edge on the defensive side, or a center or a guard. Really in the trenches is where Seattle needs some help.
Copy that. And where do you guys pick it? You pick 16th, right?
Yeah, 16 currently. I would bet money they trade back.
Currently.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to.
Everything we're doing now is based on currently. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is when you look over, Schneider's, tenure, they've traded back most of the time.
gotcha.
Yeah. You gotta keep your eyes out for your rivals, man. The Niners, man. I know they picked at 30, 31, but they love Graham Barton too. So I wonder what they're gonna do there, because after with Trent Williams and stuff and all this that happened with him, I wonder because they got a lot to do on that unit, on that front, and it's like they got to do something out there. And Graham Barton is the name that's been bounced around with the Niners. Good morning, Raj. How are you, brother?
Yeah, but can they fix the Brandon Ayuk situation before Thursday? Like, what happens there?
I would ask you about that, because I'm trying to figure out how that affect their draft, because if they don't have something locked down for him, they go on wide receiver in the draft too, because I'm not sure if he's staying. I mean, people say, he might get it figured out how they did with Debo, but
I mean, if you're going to try and replace Ayuk with someone in the draft, you better be moving way up.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. Like over this weekend, somebody even had an article. I guess one of the million mock drafts out there, they had them trading, Ayuk to get one of those top 10 picks and take another wide receiver.
See, that's the part that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you're one of these teams and you have one of those high draft picks,
right?
Why are you going after Ayuk?
Right.
You might
just take the wide receiver you want there. Exactly.
Right? Because if you're drafting that high on the board, you're not good. Right? Like historically, it means you're a bad team. Now, sometimes you just had a lot of guys hurt and, whatever, you had a bad season. But generally, if you're that high on the board, you don't need it. You're not in win now mode, right? Like you can bring a receiver along. You don't have to worry about, let's go get Ayuk and we're going to have to pay him. He's unhappy where he is. Does he bring some of that negativity with him? Who knows? So it's, I don't know why you would make that trade unless you were getting Ayuk and some extra stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
And then you're for the 49ers. Do you want to get rid of Ayuk and extra stuff to bring along a rookie wide receiver? Now, it's a great environment for him because he doesn't have to come in to be like the number one, but you really want to go get a top 10 wide receiver and say, hey, we need to win next year. So
that's the thing, right?
I need you ready right now.
a couple weeks ago, we were talking about, championship doors that were closing and everything. And this season, it's not closed for the Niners, but it's coming soon because they got a lot of dudes that are going to get paid.
Yep.
And so this team's going to naturally start to cannibalize itself just because cap space.
Right.
So, I mean, this coming year, this is one of their last shots. Like they have this year, maybe the one after, but this coming season, that's as good as it's going to get. And then you're going to start losing things.
Yeah, I agree.
Just losing Trent Williams, that right there, that alone changes the whole dynamic on that line. It does not look good. So that window is probably closing a lot faster than what people thought.
Oh,
yeah. But I'd love to hear kind of how this is going to impact their draft. I want to find out how many picks they had. That was a big thing for me to find out how many picks the Niners had. They got 10 picks. I think y'all guys know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Now that I know they have 10, they're going to move up because I feel like they have the luxury to do that now because they have a season where they did so well last year, and they got a lot of the same components in place, excluding Trent Williams and maybe a few others, maybe even Brandon Ayuk at some point. But they still got the crux of their team that went as far as it did. So they're kind of playing with house money. They're gonna move up.
Do you, or do you add depth? Do you start adding depth because you know you're going to lose some of these guys next year?
What if you don't like your depth?
Well, then your depth better get ready to step up because some of your main dudes are going to be out the door.
The reports that we're hearing are not good about, I guess the overall view of their line on both sides of the ball. Right. So when you got picks,
the Seahawks guys like,
great for you.
Tell them don't fix anything. That's fine.
That's great for you. I know you love it. I know you love it, and that's okay. You should. That's your right. That's your right with team. You are invested in their destruction. It's all good.
Just don't let Bo start making their picks.
Speaking of picks, Bo, do you have your top 10 mocks?
No, man. I didn't mess around with mocks this year at all.
Awesome, man. I mean, we asked for that for all participating in this.
I know. I was not around all weekend, so
this was last week.
I know. I'm still in the process of trying to move and unbox stuff, man.
All right, it's all good, man. Well, I would ask Raj.
The disaster that I'm sitting in right here.
Can't see it. Looks great from here, but it's all
good. Exactly. Just out of camera shot.
All right. Chad got a comment. He said, my Steelers probably going center or wide receiver in the first round in the NFL draft. Yeah. Chad, who you thinking about in regards to that center and wide receiver? I'm curious about that because I think they have what they were picking.
I actually can't see the chat at all. That's strange.
Yeah, I can't either.
Huh.
What? You can't see it?
Must be a setting. I thought it was just me because I've been having.
No. I can fix this. No.
That's good. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter mid-show, man. I was just thinking.
I mean, hey, man, I make mid-game adjustment.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
Whatever you just clicked it, he can say. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chad also said, I see articles saying, Brent, are you coming to my Steelers, bruh? I know you want that, but I didn't see one article that said it.
I won't say articles, but there's a lot of posts about it. There's a lot of people.
I was like, was that from the Onion? Like, what are we talking about here?
I didn't see one article that said he comes to the Steelers, man.
If you go to Twitter and check trending under Ayuk, I would say every third post is about Ayuk to the Steelers. So no articles that I've read, but there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Ayuk to the Steelers. I'm like, where is this even coming from? Like, what?
Are the Steelers fans talking? Is my initial question. Are the Steelers fans understand this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I didn't look on any of them. I didn't delve into it. I was like, no, keep scrolling. It's just fun to see when somebody's trending, why they're trending. And when that was every other one, I was like, yeah, I don't think that's what's happening.
No. It's trending because we are just ahead of the draft and there's nothing happening. You're like, I need something to talk about.
Right.
Honestly, we named 14. I think it was last week, wasn't it, Herb? I talked about the Vikings and I talked about the Raiders. And I said, I've been hearing some rumblings about two other teams. Surprising, but not impossible. And that's the Saints and the Steelers as far as moving up. Because right now the Steelers are they're at 20. And according to Chad's point, they got some different needs there, especially center and wide receiver. There's some other stuff they got going on they need help with as well. But Chad said he loves the Steelers to get the guy from West Virginia, Zach Frazier. I'm not familiar with his work. My apologies on that, brother, but they need help there, so get it where you can. But they could potentially move up too. So there's going to be a lot of chatter about the Steelers and doing some stuff. I didn't hear the Ayuk one. That's on me, but I didn't hear that. But there's a lot.
I don't think that one's on you. I think.
I haven't heard any real reports about it. There's been a lot of just Twitter speculation, but there's not. There's been nothing. There's been nothing about it.
I'm hearing other teams, but again, it is still in the fire cabinet of Twitter speculation. But we'll see what happens.
It makes sense for a team that is close and needs a guy, right? Like they need some more firepower, but they're close. Like they got a good defense. They're competitive. They're kind of right on that bubble. For the ones that they keep speculating to, they're like, oh yeah, they're going to get this top pick for them. It's like, no, because you're going to go after the top 3 or 4 receivers because they'll be available at whatever pick you're in.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm going to say this about the Steelers, and this is not for Chad to be upset. I got my daughter's a Steelers fan, and I know how much she loves. She hears this. She may not take it well, but I mean this with all sincerity. The Steelers seem to be the kind of team, to me, in my opinion, for what I'm seeing, where they kind of rely on what they do best and not really accentuate the other stuff. They're known for their defense, and they kind of rely on it. They rely on the T.J. Watts of the world to have the the pass rush, and that kind of stuff. And they for some reason, it always seems to work, and they always seem to be in the race, in the running, and it kind of gives them in my opinion, a false sense of security. So they don't think about addressing the other stuff and kind of building, because now the Ravens are at a different place than they were in those times when they were battling with the Steelers for divisions and stuff. And now you got the Bengals and you got the Browns improving. You can't do what you were doing years ago, is all I'm trying to say.
Well, all things being equal, they're actually really good at developing receivers. Now, the receivers may not do anything when they leave there, but while they're in a Steelers uniform, they ball out.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. Somebody has to throw them the ball, though, and they can't do.
Well, and they address that because they realize they don't do the quarterback thing well. So they're like, "Hey, let me go get Russ. That's going to be an upgrade from the disaster that they had." And then, I mean, whether you like Russ or not, you can't tell me he's not better than Mason Rudolph and Trubisky.
That's not really fair, though.
Hey, what I'm saying is they made the playoffs with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, I mean, if you get competent gameplay, which you'll get out of Russ, or maybe Russ doesn't start, maybe it's Fields. Fields is still going to be better than Mason Rudolph. Like, the bar was set so low and they still made the playoffs. If you get just decent quarterback play out of those guys, and then they lean on the things that they're actually good at, which is building defenses and, for whatever reason, drafting receivers, it can be a decent team. I don't think it's a world beater, but it can be a good team.
I ain't against that. I'm not saying they're not decent, but all the other three teams in the division aren't standing still. They were, that'd be fine. But they're not. They're improving in kind of leaps and bounds. Like you gotta keep up with that.
So, so who got better?
I think all three of them got. I think all four of them got better. Really, even with the Steelers bringing in Russ and Justin.
No. But like, what moved the needle for you on the other guys? Because when you look at like the Ravens, right? They lost some defensive pieces. They also lose their splash player in OBJ, right? So I mean, now they bring in. That
wouldn't make me even. That's how you make my needle even move to the left at all.
I mean, but they bring in Derrick Henry, obviously, so that is a noticeable improvement. But I mean, it's not like it was a huge step forward because they did lose key pieces on the defense. You look at the Browns, like who knows what the Browns are, right? Like they have a great team, and quarterback is a huge question. And we still don't know what Deshaun Watson is. Like we have an idea, and it's not great, but I mean,
they can lean on the top 5 defense though. And everybody can't say that they can lean on that at least.
Yeah, but the Steelers could do the same. That's how they won their games is because T.J. Watt was getting turnovers and stuff. I mean, so you're actually basically looking at the same team. Both of them had really good defenses and questionable quarterback play.
Sure.
Well, I can see both. I do feel like the division is getting better. And for Pittsburgh,
I'm just saying it was good. I didn't see anything this offseason that made any of them really get better than they were last year.
Yeah. I think the thing is what he's saying, there's plus and minuses both ways. Like, obviously the Bengals, you get Burrow back, but like, what's the T. Higgins situation? And how long is this going to drag out? So
yeah, they don't have a defense anyway.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like their offense. So if they have Higgins and Burrow out there, I feel like at least if you're getting into a shootout, they've got the weapons to do it. So
Higgins
I like offense.
Higgins is softening his stance. I guess he's going to be staying now, which like ticks me off. But I thought we can't bid for him. So he's staying. So that those things to me are improvements. Two healthy Burrows and Higgins.
No. Their offense is nice. Their defense is suspect. Like you can beat that Bengals team because. And if you get a stop,
36 points, it ain't gonna be easy.
Well, that's the thing is if you get a stop, if you can stop their offense, if you're not just doing a nonstop shootout, their defense isn't really stopping anybody. Like if you have a decent offense, you're going to be able to score on the Bengals. And exactly, Watson is the biggest question mark there. If he comes out and he balls out, that team is no joke. If he comes out and looks like he has,
How would I say
that's the problem because they've actually given him weapons. So they're like, look, here's the whole team. We're ready for you. Please give us any kind of return on our investment.
Yeah, no, that team is stacked.
Don't know how I'm feeling today.
Well, I hope my comment made sense because I'm like, I feel like, it's not that they're too old school, old world, but they relied on that for a while. So you got to do some. You got to step it up. And on the offense, I saw it last year a lot. That's why I'm saying all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that you can't survive on what you got sitting here right now. You got to do something and feel like they got to relax a little bit. George Pickens, he's awesome and everything. I ain't got no problem with him, but it's just that the other stuff, like with Deontay Johnson, y'all watched this stuff for a while and you could have made some adjustments and you never made it. You kind of just, Deontay Johnson was dropping balls like, I don't know what, for a while. It wasn't like 1 year. It was like often, all the time. And it's like, come on, man. You got to make some changes. They relied on their defense a lot. I thought it was really a bad idea, but they're still in the hunt. And this division is definitely a threat to be one of the best divisions competitively. All right. Rodgers mocks are in. Okay. Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels at 3. Interesting. All right. Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. So we getting the Dunzer. Okay. Joe Alt, Dallas Turner, Brian Thomas. I've heard his name a lot recently.
Yeah.
That could be pretty interesting. I'm surprised that Chicago would take him there, but possible. And Brock Bowers. Okay. You got to think about Rodgers mock.
I'm not
time to our brother now.
Yeah. No, I mean, it looks like I probably would switch May and Daniels at this point, just from what a lot of mocks and what a lot of people are saying. I also saw Daniels more being SEC, so I'm going to be biased in that one. So
I missed it. My bad. I missed this.
What?
So Daniels is going to Arizona?
No, Arizona's 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Wait. Hold on.
He has Harrison going.
Yeah, he's got Harrison going there. I did the same thing when I was reading it first. I mixed up one of the teams. I said, whoa, where? Oh, okay. I had to go back and read the whole thing. So I'm with you there.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at the run on wide receivers because I could see those teams kind of going either way with who he just picked there. And I like Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is a top 10 talent who could slide out of the top 10 just because of position and whatever, especially once you start factoring in trade ups. But again, like I said, we're biased. SEC, we got to see him up close. I just think he's one of the best. Like if you were just ranking on just no positions, just best players, I think he's one of the best players in the draft. But
I think he's going to fall back too, to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't think that's because of him. I don't think if you get him 12, 30, whatever, late first round, I think you're getting a steal for your offense. But I don't think that has anything to do with him, and that just has to do with positional needs for the other teams.
Copy that. Same here. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm with this too. Like they better protect Caleb.
Yeah,
because we've already seen what happens when you don't. It's why Fields is in Pittsburgh right now.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Which makes me think that number 9 pick could end up getting traded back, and you get a couple more picks, and then maybe pick line.
It would hurt Chicago to do that.
Yeah.
No, I would imagine they would.
They probably have the most picks in the draft right now. Probably. I don't know what they even have. But I can imagine it's probably a lot. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We were also talking about. You mentioned the Raiders potentially trading up. I want to get your thoughts on them. We talked about last week about real quick in the snippet about Davante Adams. He seemed to be happy now and is invested in staying in Las Vegas, which is fine. He got a charity out there and some work that he does with some youth football camps and stuff. All right, it's all good. So they don't really seem to have that quarterback situation hammered down. So that's why I think the Raiders are going to try to trade up. What are you guys thinking in regards to that? Do you feel like they really invested now that they really have to trade up because of Davante Adams? Do you feel like that's kind of forcing their hand to make a big splash in the first round and trade up? You think that's a factor, or do you think they had to do it regardless?
That's a tough one for me because it's like how much do you invest and where do you go? Like would the Chargers really want to trade with the Raiders at 5?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I don't either. So it's like, so are you shooting for 4? And are you in that love with JJ McCarthy to trade up to 4? Because that's a huge investment for a guy you're still kind of sure on. So now if you say that, are you aiming for 2 and 3? I could see New England wanting to trade back, But then again, it's like, do you feel like Drake May is that guy where I'm investing that much in him, you know? Or do I just sit back and maybe hope that like a Penix or Knicks is still there at that point? And how much work have I done on that? So I don't know. It's like one of those teams where I understand you want to keep Adams and maybe your window you feel like it's supposed to be win now more, but I don't know that it's there, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they could sit and pick up a Bo Nix if they wanted a quarterback, right? Because the last thing they needed to do is get rid of draft picks because they need a lot of things.
Right.
It's not like, oh, hey, we're a quarterback away.
Right.
They need quite a bit of help. So I wouldn't be giving away a bunch of stuff to go get a guy. Like this is a spot where it's like, okay, if my guy falls to me, awesome. But we have enough other things we need that say the guy we wanted is gone. Cool. We'll get some offensive line and defensive line. And I mean, you're going to need all that also. So, yeah, I don't really see them spending what would be required for them to move up.
They got 7 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be moving off.
They got 2 6s. I don't think they will either. But I mean, I feel like they. I think this is the management mentality. That's what I'm saying. This is not like it's a good idea. It just historically.
You're just like, oh, it's the Raiders.
Yeah, I've seen them do this. I've seen this movie before. And I paid for it, $10 for popcorn as well. So I've seen this before. I've seen this movie before. It feels as though if they stay where they are, they probably can get Penix maybe, or Knicks, like you said. Yeah, and be good with it.
Well, so why I said Knicks instead of Penix is they're going to need a guy that is a little bit more mobile because as it sits right now, that offensive line isn't awesome. And even if they draft some offensive line, they're going to be young. They're going to get beat a lot the first year if they're first year starters. So they're going to need a quarterback that can get out of the way a little bit. Not to say that Penix can't move, but he's probably the least athletic of the top tier quarterbacks that are coming out.
Definitely.
He has the least mobility. It's actually why I compared him a lot to Geno, right? In his mobility is he can run, he can get out of the way, but he's not going to beat you with his legs.
Right.
Like you laugh, but if you look at the way he moves, it's actually very similar.
Yeah.
He was on.
I think they ran. It wasn't like the one of the
that?
last games I saw him do. They did like a run pass option with him, and it went for like a yard. And I was like, yeah, let's scrap that.
No, and that's why I say he actually moves a lot like Geno in that way.
Yeah.
Like he can extend a play, but he's not going to beat you with his legs.
No.
He was on our team. You think I don't know? It's right here. I can still see it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Cave dropping some dimes on us. Chicago needs to build that online to protect Caleb. Don't need another weapon right now. I agree with the first part, but not the second part. They do need weapons, man, because they've been kind of going on Dollar General stuff for a couple of years now. They need to have some stuff happening.
Well, I mean, they brought in a couple of guys for Fields. He just was running for his life.
Yeah. And that brought in somebody after they got rid of Fields, right?
Yeah.
So they've kind of addressed the weapons part of it. I say kind of. Yeah. I could see, but the way the wide receivers are going, like I said, I could see them trading back and still picking up a line and another wide receiver. So
I'm looking at the depth chart and see what's going on. But yeah, you guys are talking about Claypool, but that's not a good example.
I didn't think it was Claypool. I thought they brought in somebody else.
I mean, DJ Moore. I mean, you talking about Keenan Allen?
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
You got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen.
Okay, Keenan Allen, man. Now, this is somebody who's been watching the Chargers for a while, so it's not like I don't know what I'm talking
he
about.
Doesn't have to be their number one.
Yeah, I don't mind him as a secondary player.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
like he can still burn a cornerback too. Like if it's one versus one, probably not. He's probably not that guy anymore. But that's not the role he has.
Yeah.
And if it does get swapped out, that just means DJ Moore is open.
Yeah. I like that better. And then, like I said, if you take a later pick on another wide receiver, especially with this class, and you add him to that mix, then I like that. So that's why I said if they trade back, I feel like they can address both things. So
they've been using
because a lot of your top linemen are not going early because of the way this draft is shaking out. Everybody wants other offensive weapons, so there's going to be guys waiting there for you.
Yeah. I don't know much about the guy that they got at the at the 3, but they've been using a lot of 3 wide receiver sets last year, and it's like if they lock down Keenan and DJ Moore, somebody's got to get that ball, and I'm not sure if Tyler Scott is it. So I would love for them to get another weapon. I disagree with Chad was saying, I mean, the man was saying, because I think they all weapons they can get, because Caleb's gonna need all the help he can get. But this is
to Caleb's credit though, he's not afraid to use his tight ends either. Like he will use his tight end. So I mean, if they can design some things that will help him get the ball out quicker, it'd be a huge help. And if they wanted to pick up another tight end, that's something you'll be able to get later in the draft.
I don't disagree there at all, really, to be honest with you. Pretty simple. All right, so let's move on to, I think last week we asked about it, but I'm not sure if you guys were there, if you guys heard that, but talk about the strongest positions in the draft and the weakest in the draft and why you thought that. So what's your strongest position in the draft? For those of you guys that are listening to our show as well. And what's the weakest position and why do you think that? No wrong answers for me, man. I want to hear what you guys thinking, man, because the draft is going to bear out. So it doesn't matter what we say. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, there is that. It's funny. I think watching all of the quarterbacks, I think one of the weaker positions is the number 1 overall pick. Caleb Williams as the number 1, I don't feel like is the right number 1. But that's where it's going to go, and the Bears have
in the quarterbacks. Or you're saying like if all things being equal, the best prospect is somebody else at number 1, like period.
I mean, 2 things can be true, I guess. But we'll go with quarterback just to keep people watching from losing their minds. But but I mean, no, like I actually like some of the other quarterbacks better. Now, had he come out after the 22 season, sure, right? I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. After watching the 23 season, there was a lot of regression in his game.
Right.
And so when you were looking at all of the quarterbacks over this last year, I don't know that he's the number 1 pick. Now, he has to be the number 1 pick for the Bears because the Bears missed a year ago and squandered a 1 pick and, did a lot of dumb stuff. So they're going to have a ton of outward pressure to make this pick, which is why Fields isn't in the building anymore. Like if they gave Fields an actual offensive line, now is Fields good? We have no idea because he's never had a chance to actually play because most of his passes are for 1 air yard, and it's because his offensive line was Swiss cheese and he had to get rid of the ball as fast as he touched it. So, who knows what that would be, but now they're going to get pressured into taking Caleb Williams. I don't think he's the best quarterback prospect in this draft. So I think that might actually be the weaker, one of the weaker spots. And then the strongest one is probably betting on Marvin Harrison being good. That's probably a pretty safe bet.
Okay. Fair enough. Herb?
Yeah. Well, and I think Travis is posted because when we talked about it last year, we kind of went by groups. I love the wide receiver group, man. I think that, a lot of people want that big 3, and I get that, but I think you're going to find some good gems later on, and especially if it's a situation where you're not even necessarily looking for a number 1 guy, but you need like a number 2. I think you'll be very happy drafting later on and picking from that group for sure. So,
okay.
I like that group.
Right. This is pretty interesting.
Yeah. And to the point about quarterbacks, it's interesting that we're thinking 6 could go in the first round, but you're like, we still have question marks on at least 4 of them. And then the drop from the group of 6 to the next one, you're talking like first round to like 3rd or 4th round. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, we're saying it's strong because of the beginning, but then you might not hear another name called forever. So, with Spencer Rattler leading the next group. So that's
well, I'm not sure if he is or not. First of all, I want to make a quick apology. He's probably not watching the show, so it probably ain't gonna matter. I've been dismissive of a certain quarterback from Tulane by the name of Michael Pratt.
Right.
And I only watched a part of one of his games last season, so I didn't see a whole bunch of stuff. But he's not even close to as bad as he's been portrayed.
Right.
He has
Good
he has,
size, 6'3",
he has
220.
he has
Yeah.
absolutely he has arm strength, run and throw ability. He had 4 OCs in 4 years. Now I've seen what that looks like with a quarterback. It's not good for your development. So
Even good quarterbacks don't do well.
I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be fair in that regard. So he could be a steal. I don't like the double clutching that he does. That can be fixed, but he has above average accuracy, man. So he is a lot better than what I actually thought.
Agreed.
I don't know about the rest of the experts out here, but I didn't know that he was as good as that. So I'm putting him back into the mix as far as being a steal for the in the draft. At the same time, I don't think quarterback is the strongest position. It is strong. I think the tackle is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
What you got there is about 7 tackles probably going in the first round, more than likely. That's what's projected anyways. And then definitely got starters on day 2 still, and you got depth on day 3. I mean, or in the 3rd round. And these are guys that actually going to start for you right away. And that's hard to find as far as all the position spots are. So I'm going old tackle on that one. The weakest one is probably going to be the linebackers. I really ever agree with the NFL Network, but they got it right this time because the linebacker is probably the weakest, and that's one of the area that we need. So I'm kind of a bit on edge by what we're going to do there because I don't really want to trust UDFAs for linebacker help, but we need it really bad. And the names and listing out there is not really great. So if we can get Junior Colson, because I know him, I know what he can do. I know about his motor. He's a 3-down linebacker without any question. Fantastic in coverage. Just an old school guy. I like him. So if we can get him, I'll feel good about this whole linebacker situation. But if not, we got to go dig into the Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is not bad either. He's pretty good. Will he be good as his father? I don't know, but he's pretty good. But if we can get one of those 2 guys, I feel good about the linebacker. That's probably the weakest spot in the entire draft to me.
Yeah.
You guys. What's your weakest spot? I think Bo said quarterback is the weakest.
No. So if you're talking position group, I was talking actual position.
Like where he was getting drafted at.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got you.
So if we're talking position group, I would agree with that. Linebacker is pretty light coming through this draft this year.
Yeah, man, that's rough.
Yeah. And last week I made a point. Like I don't know if the running back group is weak or not, or we just don't value it anymore, and nobody's even talking about it until like 2nd or 3rd round. Because there's a couple of teams that could use a running back, but
both things can be true, like both said. Both things can be true.
What's that? Like
you said, both things can be true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and based on one of the questions that we had coming into today, of gems, right? I think the Notre Dame running back, Audric
ETN or ETME.
Yeah. I think he
Estime, sorry. Yeah.
Estime, there we go.
Yes.
I do think he can be kind of a hidden gem in this. I think he will probably be a 3rd rounder. But what I liked about him is he was averaging 4.3 yards after contact. That's huge.
Yeah. He's been mentioned on several little gym draft boards and stuff like that. Is like somebody you'll pick up late. And nobody's, you don't have to reach for a running back really either. You're gonna have your pick, starting 2nd or 3rd round.
Which means everybody will have a shot at him. It's a 3rd round, probably a 3rd round pickup, because I don't think he's actually the highest graded in the draft as far as running backs. But I think he could be a good addition for a team, just because he doesn't go down easy. He's got a good motor, low center of gravity, can take a hit and keep running. That's huge. It's huge.
It's probably going to be Jonathan Brooks should be up there somewhere as far as grade.
Yeah, Brooks, then Trey Benson from Florida State, then Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. That's just one ranking. I'm just grabbing a random ranking. So
Jalen Wright's up there too, I think somewhere. I like Benson a lot, man. I mean, it's a bowling ball, man. 4.4 speed, 6 feet, 216. Got burst, man. Above average pass catcher. We need that kind of stuff. So I'm glad he's being linked to the Giants. I know he's not elusive, but I don't care about that. I think we can work with that with him and Singletary together. That's a good pairing. Probably mid-2nd round, but who knows if he even stays that long. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, Jalen Wright.
The other gem that I had in there was I do like the Georgia wide receiver Ladd McConkey. Yeah. That
don't like that guy either.
what I had him comp wise was kind of a like an Amendola type of guy. Like
right. So with like
he's
maybe
not,
a little more speed, I guess, than with on Lad.
a little bit,
More, yeah.
but
not.
My comparison more had to do with he's got real quick feet and he's in and out of breaks really cleanly.
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
So he doesn't necessarily have the speed to get away from you.
Yeah, that was my thing.
But he has the cuts to get open.
Right.
Which would be that Wes Welker, Amendola type of receiver, wide receiver 3 slot type of guy. And so I think that's one of those kind of mid-rounds gem that you can get.
Yeah, there's some other names out there that fall in that category. I mean,
and that just kind of goes back with the wide receiver being a deep is what you're talking about. I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah. Roman Wilson, I'm partial to him because I think he's he's a game changer. Xavier Leggett, I got to see a lot of his work. That the one guy I'm not sure about, I want to get you guys' opinion about before we move on, is Troy Franklin. Now, I don't feel like he can win the ball consistently in the air,
right.
On the 50-50 goals. He's a speedster. He had issues with drops to the combine. I think he cleaned up a little bit at his pro day. He needs a quarterback that can throw a deep pass for sure. We can see that. He creates separation in yak. I mean, he does that kind of stuff. Good release out of the box. I mean, do you guys like him, love him, or you're kind of in between somewhere? How do you feel about him?
It's the Replacements was on TV last night, so I watched that. So as long as you get him some stickum, he'll be good. He'll be good. The drops are the concern. Obviously, the kid's fast, but speed only matters if you can actually get the ball.
Yeah.
As far as blocking,
ask the Raiders about drafting wide receivers who are fast and can't catch.
And he's a below average blocker too, which is like that's the part that kind of jumps off the page. Like, oh my God!
Like a lot of the big speedsters are though.
Yeah, but you got to do it on this level.
No, you do, but a lot of the like high end speedsters are not great blockers, and some of them is because their launch puts them out of position. Like it's not even necessarily that they don't like the block; they're almost too quick for themselves.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Hopefully, he ends up in the right place. Do you like him, Herb, at all? Or is he kind of a?
I was just kind of reading about him before, like we got on here, just looking at because one of the articles actually had him as their number one, underrated guy, and it's like his profile is great, but he's still falling to like number 9 in the wide receiver group at all. So it's kind of like one of those. Yeah, if he's sitting around second, third round, and I need a guy, like I said, not to be my guy, or maybe not even to be my top 2. It's somebody I think you take a flyer on to help make your offense a little bit better. If anything, a speedster help clear stuff out for other guys, but definitely not somebody I'm reaching for. You know what I mean?
So already, I want to touch this question, but already right here I can tell we're almost done with the show, and I haven't even touched a third what I was going to talk about today. So I know that next week we haven't probably going to be the week after that too, because I still got a whole lot more. But I want to ask you a question, Herb, about a quarterback from Tennessee. Don't let me forget that. But here's Trav's question. Only perhaps 2 or 3 of these guys will truly be second and third round guys. Now, I don't know who out of the 6 guys that we're talking about consistently at quarterback was a third round guy. I don't think I had nobody that low.
No.
Everybody I had at the worst was second round. Was there a third round guy for you guys out of that 6?
No, I thought so. When we first started, I thought McCarthy, Penix, and Nix were kind of like late first, early mid second when we first ended the season and before anything else was bought. Yeah. But I didn't think any of them were falling like third.
Yeah, I didn't.
I thought third started with like Rattler and the guy you said from Tulane. I thought third was starting kind of there.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, that's where I was too. Those 3 were that borderline late first, early second. But then as we started seeing the quarterback kind of need change a little bit with quarterbacks moving around, all of a sudden it's like, oh, these guys are going to move up because now teams don't have a quarterback. Right. It's like, oh, where they're probably drafting somebody because there's no one in the building.
Well, I know. I will go ahead and transition to that question, and we're going to go ahead and close out for today. But I was talking to you guys about the quarterback position in positions of strength or weakness, however you saw it. Looked at next year's draft for the quarterbacks. I'm like, ooh, it's not cute. Now I wonder if Quinn Ewers knew where he ended up at. That's why he stayed back another year, because he probably ended up
NIL money keeping him at Texas probably didn't hurt either. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it didn't hurt either. But it doesn't look great to me. No. So it's like, if you want a quarterback, I highly recommend you don't wait until next year.
I mean, because what your prospects next year are going to be like Shedeur and
Quinn Ewers, I guess.
Yeah. When you think of what your top quarterbacks coming out next year are, they would be what?
Drew Aller,
6'7" this year, right? 6 or 7 maybe.
Like for us, Milroe would be coming out next year, and he's nowhere near.
Is it?
This is it for him.
His name wasn't in that list I saw the other day. Okay, cool. So I like him better than Drew Aller, but that's me though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see a lot of development this year.
Wow. Yeah. Man. So if you guys want a quarterback, you better go ahead and get him this year, because next year it's not looking good. All right, Rod said,
Travis, tell us how you really feel.
Leon Arnold somehow falls to 21.
Which is interesting because Kool-Aid could possibly be there at 21, and he went into the year as our better corner, and now you've seen more development from Terrion Arnold, and he's become number one out of those two. I mean, not maybe the whole cornerback group, but with players that we kind of know better. So that's an interesting one. Okay. So, Roger, would you be disappointed with Kool-Aid at 21?
I thought he said he wanted Kool-Aid a while back.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is how it switched. Kool-Aid it's kind of like in the middle of the year, end of the year, Kool-Aid was the guy for us. And now
I don't feel like you can go wrong either way is the thing.
Right.
Like, I think both prospects are going to be good. But this is hilarious because
it's hilarious.
Russ just keeps signing $1 million contracts to stick it to the Broncos.
The thing that's funny is I've actually said that. It's like, okay, you have Fields for a couple of years. You got Russ for a pack of Big Red.
Yeah.
Trade him. Get a couple more draft picks out of him, right? Because now you can probably get, a third and a fourth, right? But you're into it for $1 million, so who cares?
Yep. Which is, to me, a lot of money to these NFL teams. They lose that in the couch cushions.
No, 100%. Yeah.
All right. I need you guys' help on something. I'm not thinking about this as far as the Giants go, but I'm just here. I've been thinking about him since he left Michigan. I got a chance to see him play quite a bit, and I saw what I thought was some good things. He didn't stick and stay at quarterback. Obviously, the changes were made there to McCarthy, and it worked out well for us. It resulted in the national championship, so you can't be mad. But what do you guys think about Joe Milton? I'm asking that because we talk about quarterbacks and the and kind of how many we can pick out of the current crop that we think are going to do something. Do you see it? I mean, because is there a comp out there for him right now who's playing and starting in the NFL?
Oh, I was going to say Jamarcus Russell, but no.
Seriously?
Just because of the arm strength, and that's what we're building Joe Milton. He can throw 50 yards. He can throw 60 yards, but the touch and intermediate routes isn't there. He has a little more mobility than I thought he did, but I just don't see like an NFL quarterback out of Milton. I like the guy who they have, Hooker from last year towards ACL, I guess he's with Detroit and you still haven't seen. If I was going to go a guy, maybe take a flyer on somebody that you're really not sure, I would go with Hendon Hooker. I thought he was a little bit better. Yep. But I think the other problem is Tennessee, and if you read the reports or not, they run like 6 plays, So it's like the system is not preparing him at all for the NFL either. And if you look at their second halves, Tennessee this year, they were awful. So it's kind of, I don't really know what you're getting with Milton other than a strong arm. I don't know. And there was before in the bowl game last year, one of the announcers on there was like, I think Milton's going to be the best quarterback in college football this upcoming year. But you just saw like a lot of boom or bust. I think his best game this year was against Alabama. And then you just have a lot of mediocre to bad play from him. So it's kind of, this isn't like the Alabama-Tennessee bias. This is actual like, go look at what you've seen. There's nothing out there that stands out other than arm strength.
Okay. Yeah. No, real quick.
No. I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's like if you got him, late, right? Like if it's one of those free draft picks, yeah, you take a flyer on him. right?
So
Because
he's not. So he's not in the Pratt Rattler realm. You think
No.
I
he's
think he'd be
level
after
below
that. Yeah,
not
he'd be
not
after
for
that.
me.
But if you pick him up as like a late 4th rounder, maybe early 5th rounder, something like that, then fine. Because if you guess wrong on him, nobody's going to barbecue you for taking a quarterback in the 4th, let's say, and he doesn't work out. They'd be like, yeah, he was a 4th rounder. Makes sense.
Just
So-
just for CBS Sports has him as the number 19th ranked quarterback.
Yeah, I can see that.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, like 4th rounder, 5th rounder, not disrespecting this guy at all. Just you didn't see enough out of him.
Yeah.
Fair, man. I just wondering because his name is floating around a lot. I'm like,
So an interesting one too, quarterback wise, is Jordan Travis, just because his year got cut short and he was having one of
forgot
his
about
best years. So that's an interesting one. But that's kind of like the Hendon Hooker thing, having a great year, tears ACL late. What are you going to do? So,
copy that.
you know, if I was going to get a Tennessee guy, I would go back and see if Detroit wants to just let Hendon Hooker slide for cheap and see where he's at before I would take Milton.
Slim pickings. Well, we go ahead and end with Roger's question, then we can go ahead and close the show out. So Roger's asking, why am I in this?
Linebacker,
I know the answer to my own question.
linebacker.
Not me, just because I know my statistics better than anybody.
Oh, I'm saying linebacker. You look like the kind of guy that's
and to be fair, Roger, I recently lost 25 pounds.
I knew I saw you at the combine. Factor
that into whatever you're talking about. I lost 25 pounds since the last time you probably.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet you can read a gap really well too, right? I'm saying linebacker.
What are you saying, Bo? I mean, I'm sure you got a take on this too, man. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could see that. Or, I could see in a split back situation being a halfback. I could see that.
Nah, he wants to go do the hitting. Mr. U wants to go do the hitting. I can see it.
Well, you still get to in a split back situation, right? Because you got a fullback open in a hole, and then you get free reign to go blast the linebacker.
I thought they were gonna put me in the secondary. Y'all say y'all want me to be,
No, I want you up there hitting somebody.
you put me carrying the rock.
If I was in the NFL, I know what position I'd play.
What's
Water
that?
boy.
Oh,
You guys need some hydration.
my measurements probably tell everybody, oh, he's gonna be in the secondary. God, I mean, 5'10", 200 pounds. I mean, I'm with you. They got running back to the at that same height and build. So.
Really?
Roger's having a little too much fun this morning.
That's why I said, you'd be,
Pastor of pain.
that halfback.
That man just making me love him.
Pain.
Thank you, brother. I like it. Can you hold that? Let's do it again next week. Guys, wherever you are and however you're hearing, they call me Mr. U, the podcast. Thanks again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you change the world, baby. Say good night, everybody. The pastor of pain.